Hi, everybody. This is Laura Probert. I'm your hostess for the Live Out Loud webinar. Thank you so much for being here with me today. So this is my very first webinar, and I am like way nervous. So Live Out Loud webinar. I'm going to. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to go slow, take a deep breath, and tell you about what I know today. So the first thing I'd like to do is actually get my face up here. And there it is. Okay. So excuse me for fooling around with the tech stuff today. It's just going to be my first run through, and thanks for hanging in there with me. I'm really, really glad you guys are here, and I have a lot of really awesome things to share with you. And so first of all, who am I? I'm a holistic physical therapist, a published author, a poet, and I'm lately calling myself an awareness coach, because what I realized was that living out loud in the world and really showing up and sharing my message was all about awareness. And the most important pieces that I've learned recently have been through the practice of writing, although that's not the only way that I practice awareness. And so I'm going to share a lot of different things with you today, not only with the writing. So the timing for today, I'm going to shoot for 45 minutes, and I'm going to give some minutes at the end for your questions. You can see the chat box there, so feel free to type in your questions, and at the end I'm going to go in, scroll through, and get to as many as possible. And if I don't get to your question here live today, just shoot me an email, and I'll have all the contact information up for you at the end of the webinar. So what do you need for today? You need a notebook and a pen. So, or a piece of paper will do, even just one sheet of blank paper. So make sure you run and grab your notebook and your pen right now if you don't have anything. A little scrap of paper is fine, whatever you have to write on, okay? Because I'm gonna start the day off today by getting you right into this awareness that I'm talking about. One of my writing mentors, Laura Munson, said something really amazing to a group at our writing retreat this past February about our writing. And she said, "Don't tell me, show me." And so we are going to dive in today, and with me showing you what this is all about. Okay, so wherever you are, wherever you're sitting, wherever you're listening to this, get really comfortable for a minute or two. I want you to sink into your chair and start to relax and really let go. We're going to start today with a little bit of a body awareness exercise. So give yourself permission to feel everything for the next few minutes. And I'm going to invite you to close your eyes for a moment. So relax into your seat. Take a deep breath. Exhale and soften from your head to your toes. Relax, make space. Start to notice what you feel. Awareness starts in the body. I want you to sink in a little bit deeper. Take another deep breath. And as you exhale, relax even more into your seat. See if you notice where the tension is and let that go. Do you notice any tightness, any tension, any pain today? Soften into those sensations. Let go, relax, and make some space to feel whatever it is that you're feeling today. One more deep breath. Take it in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as you relax, you can slowly open up your eyes. And I want you to go ahead and grab your piece of paper or your notebook and pen right now. And we're going to do 3 minutes of writing. And what I want you to remember about this writing exercise we're about to do is that there are no rules, absolutely no rules to this exercise. What I'd really love for you to try to do is put your pen to the paper and don't stop writing for 3 minutes. Don't worry about punctuation, grammar, spelling, or finishing sentences. Do not worry about what happens with your pen. Just write. And the prompt today is I feel blank. Okay, everyone? So 3 minutes. I've got a timer going and I'm going to be writing with you. So go ahead and start writing. I feel. I'm going to bring myself back up on the screen. And for the next 3 minutes, you're going to see me writing with you. So I'm looking down at my paper. We're about halfway there. Keep writing. Whatever comes out on the page is perfect. Okay, start to wrap that up. Just a few seconds left for you to write out a finishing thought. Okay, pens up. Like school, right? Pens up. Okay, so that kind of writing that we just did, I've been calling free writing because I try to get myself out of the way of the writing. And when we connect into our body like we did first, the writing can come from that connected place that I call source. And a lot of my writing has been like that lately. you guys are attending the webinar on a really awesome writing week for me. If some of you saw the Elephant Journal article that was published this week, talk about living out loud. So, and I've been publishing articles in these online magazines for months now, and this was the first one that went a little crazy with views and shares, and lo and behold, the topic was awareness. So that was extremely exciting to me to have that read and shared so many times, and it was just I can't even tell you guys how awesome that was. You know, it takes some courage to publish in the first place, but that piece had some raw elements. But I'm so passionate about sharing this information with people because it is so powerful. So I wonder, how did you feel about getting into your body for the couple of minutes that we did? And how did you feel about writing for 3 minutes? Sometimes you get stuck on the prompt. And a lot of the time when I ask clients, how do you feel? And just ask them to answer the question for me, the answer is, I don't know, or nothing. And in a writing prompt, when you're being asked to go for it with just a couple of words, you read the words, sometimes you just simply get stuck. So, oh well, right? Getting stuck is part of what you can feel. In fact, every single thing that happens to you all day long is an opportunity to feel. So I say, give yourself permission to feel everything. Everything you do, say, feel, think, hope for, desire, or analyze moves through your awareness. When people talk about waking up, they're talking about being present and fiercely alive for all of it. When they talk about being asleep, they're talking about moving through life sort of numb to what you feel. Awareness is the key. It's the key to healing. And it's also a key to transforming your life. Whatever you desire, you can move toward with a practice of awareness. When I realized that my writing was a powerful form of awareness, a huge light bulb went off. I could take this simple tool that I loved so much and use it to help me, but I could also start using it to help other people. Whether I journaled for nobody else to see, blogged my messages to the world, or had them published on the Huffington Post or Mind Body Green or Elephant Journal, each time I move what's inside of me outside on the page, I make room in there and I heal a little bit. I feng shui my soul. So writing has become this thing, this healing thing for me. And what I'd like to tell you a little bit about now is the story behind this, so you have a better idea and you can fill in what resonates with you in your own story. And I'm here to tell you today that your story, whatever your story is, really matters, and it pays to pay attention to that story. I grew up in San Francisco, and my parents were divorced when I was 8 years old. And so a lot of the things that I had to move through were struggles from that time of my life. I started journaling when I was 15 years old, and I love looking back at these moments. So I look back at that journaling time, and I still have all of those books that I wrote in from 15 years old on. And so sometimes I look back at those journals and read, they're mostly full of like hormone stuff and talking about boys and talking about love, but the sad part about what I read in those journals is the part about the girl who wasn't sure of herself, who was not out loud, except for in those pages. And so moving through my writing at that time of my life was, I think, a journey of exploration, but it was really getting that stuff out of me somehow because I couldn't speak it out. I was too afraid, felt too unworthy, felt too shameful. And I've realized that this journey resonates with a lot of people. So I survived my 20s. I don't know how, but I wrote through them. So maybe that's how I survived. And moved into my 30s, late 20s and 30s. I got married and had a couple of kiddos and had some pretty amazing things happen in my life. The writing continued. I started blogging in 2008. Before I knew what I was doing, I decided to put this up for the world to see, another little piece of being out loud. And the blog was cool. I created it almost to use like a journal, but I wanted to talk about healing. You know, I had become a physical therapist. I've been doing physical therapy for over 21 years now. So I wanted to write about those healing topics and help people with the struggles they were having with their healing. And again, looking back, I realized that that process of blogging and trying to teach what I was learning was a healing process in and of itself. And then in 2012, I self-published my first book. And I had always wanted to write a book, always knew that I would write a book, talked about it to my family, talked about it to my husband, and finally decided to write about a journey that I had taken with my son. He and I started the martial art of Taekwondo together when he was 5.5. And 6 years later, we earned our black belts together. And going through that piece of my life, another incredible, profound healing journey, the big light bulb went off and I said, oh my gosh, here's my book. So sure enough, I went back to my journals. It was a 6-year span of time that I had written about that particular journey and realized my book was written already in those pages. So that was pretty exciting to finally have the moment of, I want to write a book, to, oh yeah, this book's getting written, and to have the ideas move through me, the chapter ideas, the words, the whole story, and to add some journaling pieces in that book. So being out loud in that way was a huge step. It took some courage to get a book out there that anyone could read that really told the raw stories of my healing process. And at the same time, I was afraid it was too raw, afraid to share the messages, you know, put it out there, started giving it out to people, started selling it on Amazon. And then I thought, oh my gosh, what have I done? I've written these stories. Maybe it's too much for people, you know, maybe it's TMI. So I got over that part and I kept writing. And in the last couple of years, I've done a lot more writing, mainly poetry. The healing journey has taken me on quite a ride. I practice something called John Barnes myofascial release. And to keep our license for physical therapy, we have to do some continuing education a couple times a year. And so I've been taking a lot of his courses and loving the mind, body, spirit teaching of his courses, seeing the results in my clients when you connect the mind to body. And so I was headed out for one of those courses, February 2014. This is just 2 years ago almost. And I reached down on the plane on my way, reached down to my purse, grabbed my journal. I always have a journal with me for just such an occasion. And started writing a piece that later, on the first day of that class, I would end up reading out loud to 220 people. That piece that I wrote on the plane felt like a journal entry, but at the time I knew it was something else. And I don't like to use the word channeling so easily because I think that word maybe sounds woo-woo to some people, but that is as close as I can get to a description of what happened to me that day on the plane. These words moved through my pen onto that page. I shut up the journal, put it in my purse, got to the class that first day, and everything inside of me that day, oh my gosh, my little voice was, you got to read it. You got to read it. This isn't just for you. You got to do this. And my heart was beating worse than it is now with my first webinar. I'm telling you, it was bad. I was shaking literally from the heartbeat intensity. And I couldn't get myself to raise my hand. So we got to the break. We took a break, you know, for everyone to go to the bathroom and get their water. And I decided to go over to John and ask permission to read my piece. I figured if I had permission, then I could do it somehow. So I went over to him and I said, you know, I've got this piece that I wrote that I'd really love to read to the group. And he said, well, how long is it? And I said, it'll probably be 2-3 minutes. He said, sure, that's great. And so we all got back from break and he went up on stage, and the very first words out of his mouth that day were, somebody had something they wanted to share. And so I grabbed my journal and stood up from my seat as fast as possible so that I couldn't be paralyzed. I moved through the feeling, stood up, and began to read this piece, and moved through an amount of fear that is very difficult to describe to you all. I allowed my body to take over so that I wouldn't be paralyzed. And that was one of the very first times in my life that I let action save me. In the middle of your action is the solution to your fear. So I finished reading the piece and shut my book and sat down really fast. And all of a sudden the room erupted in applause. And I stood up a little straighter. I was a little surprised, but that wasn't even the best part of it. Later at the next break, I had people coming up to me, and one in particular, one woman said, "Thank you so much for sharing your poem." And I looked at her with this look, and right in that moment, the poet in me was born. The fearless writer was born. The woman who could feel the fear and still be out loud was born. And that was a really, really big deal. Sorry, it's making me emotional, and I didn't expect that to happen today. It was a really, really amazing moment. So in the months after that, 48 poems came out of me. And in the middle of the poetry writing was this vision for a book, another book, a book of poems and artwork and blank journal. And some of you who already know me know about Warrior Love. The full title of that book is called Warrior Love, A Journal to Inspire Your Fiercely Alive Whole Self. And with the help of an amazing artist, Atusa Raysan, we designed this book as a combination of the poems that had come out of me those months in combination with artwork and blank journal for you to write in. And we have since self-published a second called Warrior Joy. And the third journal, Warrior Soul, is about to be born in November. And these journals have all been collaborations. The first two were with 3 other artists, and this last one that's coming out is a fantastic collaboration with 29 amazing artists. Some contributed poems, some contributed artwork, and it's just an amazing, amazing project. So that was born out of me getting over my fear and allowing myself to be out loud with what was moving through me, my expression, my poems, my thoughts. It was about feeling worthy enough to share, knowing that that message wasn't just meant for me, that the healing wasn't just meant for me, that it was meant to share with other people. So the other thing that I wanted to tell you guys about today was something else that was born of this was my writing course. And Writing for Warrior Healing is this combination course. Right now it's an online course and it starts November 1st. And I am so jazzed about this class, you guys. I ran it as a beta program some months ago and had some incredible testimonials of what happened with it. And the course is a combination of the body awareness that you practiced with me just a few minutes ago and the writing. And I've got all kinds of fun things like a dedicated Facebook group in there and a connection with you all who are doing that class. I have changed it up and it's moved from a 4-week class to a 6-week class because I've added a couple of sessions that I'm in love with. But what I'm doing with the writing is moving through, this time it'll be 6 weeks, and we're going to do an awareness session, really talking about awareness and understanding it on a much deeper level, taking you to the next level of awareness. The next session after that is the inner critic, because I really believe that observing the thoughts that you have about yourself and the world is the next level of awareness that we need to have. And if you read my recent article in Elephant Journal, you understand more about how I feel about that. It's taking a step back and understanding your reactions and your responses in the world and figuring out how to respond in a way that serves your bigger mission. So that's session 2. Session 3 is about fear, and I title it Fear as a Compass. Because that day in the room with those 200 people, I used my fear as a pointer. Yes, this right here, right now, this is what you need to be doing. And so I stood up and read that piece. Fear is a compass. Fear is just a feeling inside of your body. If we can stop letting it paralyze us and let it be a compass to point us in the directions of the things that we need to move toward, it can be magical. The 4th session in this course is Feng Shui Your Soul. So once you move through some of the hard work of understanding your inner critic and moving through fear, you kind of have to clean house a little bit. And Louise Hay gave a great quote at the Hay House Writers Workshop that I was at a few weeks ago. If you want to clean house, you first have to see the dirt. I love that quote. So I'm helping you to see your dirt, and then we're gonna start sweeping it out because we're making space inside for the source to move through, for the divine creative inspiration that I know you all yearn for to move through. The session after that is flipping the switch to the magic, and that's where I help you move the work you've done to the work you want to do, taking some of the negatives and flipping them to the positive. It's teaching you tools about how to do that. And the last session that I added, that's a new session, is called, right now it's called Now What? Because when you do a lot of work and you figure these things out and you have a million ahas going all over the place, sometimes you are overwhelmed and you have no idea what to do next. And so the last session that I added to the course is really about giving you a super boost of inspiration and holding your hand and showing you how to figure out what to do next. So that is my course. I've talked to you a little bit about what that is. And we're at 12:30 now. And so I would like to start to open it up for a few questions. And I think I got a few questions. So I'm going to pop this up on the screen right this moment and let you all stare at that for just a sec. Okay, you guys, because if it's not out loud, it's not real. So when you begin to be out loud in the world, it's like you're being accountable to the universe. You are saying it, you are claiming it. So be brave about it. Speak up. Tell us your dreams. Share it with a friend. Write it in your journal. Listen, you can change your mind. It's not that big of a deal. It's okay to write something down or share something with a friend and change your mind 1,000 times. It's just going to get you closer to your dreams. So, okay, let me see. I don't really see a whole lot of questions here. And I could be missing some, but if any of you have a question about awareness or a question about dealing with fear, shoot it in the chat box now and I can answer that live for you. So, if you guys understand and believe in the power of physical feng shui, right? Or decluttering, then you can start to understand that it's a process that can happen with your writing. The writing can be the tool that you use. And when you clear the space inside, you're connecting with your inner warrior, your inner healer. You can begin to listen to the messages that are coming to you. That's intuition. When you learn awareness, you are learning how to connect with your own intuition. It's not only the most empowering thing you'll ever do, but it's something that will change your entire life. You're going to get a connection to that divine creative flow that comes from being aligned with your soul. And that really only comes with awareness. So I'm looking over in the chat. Let me bring my face up here to you guys again. There I am. Okay. So Andrea wants to know, do I have an affirmation that I use to deal with fear? Okay, you guys, listen, if you haven't tried tapping yet, I know a lot of you have tried tapping. Tapping, or otherwise known as emotional freedom technique. The thing with mantras is that mantras have to be personal. So when I'm moving through something, and Andrea's asking about fear, I have developed the tapping practice and I consider those statements that I'm creating about what is going on with me. How do I know what's going on with me? I go to the body awareness place and I feel it first. You know, so we tap, and the tapping point that they start with is here on they call it the karate chop point. And I begin the tapping technique, but I'm saying a mantra that has to do with what I feel. He starts you off moving from a negative piece of what you're feeling to replacing it with a positive affirmation. So do I have a specific mantra or affirmation? Probably not. I use a lot of different things based on what is happening in the moment. I really, really try to stay in the moment and present to what's going on. And hopefully that helps you. So I think if you're tuning into your intuition, you're going to come up with the mantra or the affirmation that is the key one for you. And that's going to be golden. Okay, so Peggy, motivation to stop other things in life and sit down to write. Oh my gosh, yeah, that one, right? So is it about priorities or something else? It seems like I avoid writing. Listen, I am all about doing what you love to do. So you all know my motto, I don't know, mantra: wake up, be brave, heal your shit, and do what you love. So the thing is maybe the writing isn't the thing, you know, but if it's your goal, yes, you have to practice like it's the most important appointment on your book. In fact, if you don't schedule it, it's not real. So I schedule my writing time. That is important to me. It's a priority. So yes, of course, it's about priority, but schedule it or it's not real. Talk to people about your next goal. My goal is to have my first blog up by X date. Tell somebody about that goal. Get someone to help you be accountable. And I had one other thing about that. Maybe it'll come back to me in a minute. Oh, protect the time. I had this beautiful client one time, one-on-one in my physical therapy practice, and she was a psychotherapist, and we were having this discussion about, you know, what you're prioritizing. And she said, you have to protect the time. And really, she's right. And that's a beautiful word to use, protect it. Okay, like it's your baby. This time is yours. Okay, so I've got another question from Shelly, maybe a question. I've changed the way I communicate as a result of your awareness. I pay attention to my body and what I'm feeling before I quickly respond or react. It has made a difference. That's super awesome. Thank you. It does make a difference. It can change everything. You have to practice, and you have to practice like a mad woman. Seriously, it has to be a fierce discipline. You have to be on top of it. And having people to talk to about it, having groups. Some of my tribes are on Facebook. Some of them are personal friends. Some of them are my family members. These people that get it are important people in my life. And I think if I didn't have those people, I wouldn't be able to do the practice that I do. So talk about it. Start up those kind of conversations, those conversations you really want to have about awareness and healing. Be the one who's brave enough to start those conversations and really engage with people. Okay, Nancy, I became out loud late in life, frightening at first, then so empowering. Now sometimes I'm afraid I'm too out loud. Yeah, I'm with you there, Nancy. Do you think that's possible? Have you had to deal with this? I think I need to rein myself in and find that balance working on this. You know, my gut feel was to say to you, oh, it's never too much. But of course, we want to rein ourselves in. This is such an important point, and I want to say something important about this because I feel this all the time. In fact, I said to somebody the other day, thank you, man, for being able to handle my energy, right? So I don't think it's so much about balance. I think it's about surrounding yourself with people who can handle it. And I have made a point of bringing those kinds of people into my life. It's really important because no, it's not too much. You are not too much for anybody. Be your out loud self. Please sing it out, shout it out, dance it out, paint it out, write it out. Do not be afraid to be yourself. That light is what we need. We need that light. We need you to shine your light loudly. How's that for an answer, Nancy? Okay. So I love that. Protect the time I've set aside. Since retiring, I've stopped feeling obligated to keep appointments with myself. I want to get back to being more intentional about the important soul enriching things in my life. Yes. Yes. It still needs to be on there. Like, it's important. And Nancy, healing my shit took a very, very long time, still happening, but not quite as traumatic. Sought and received some excellent help. Yes, Nancy, thank you. Thank you for that. You guys, this process that we're working on, this journey, it's a journey. It's not an end point. And I agree with Nancy. It gets easier and easier. Things shift and change, but the journey is a never-ending journey. So you can either choose to be in this journey alive and awake, fiercely alive, and living from a place where your soul gets to be expressed every day and you feel illegal amounts of joy and happiness, or you can choose to shrink in, follow the rules, not express, and feel the pain that that brings. It will be an ebb and flow back and forth between these states, and it will be forever. It's a journey. But oh, the magic we can create on this journey when we live out loud. So, okay, I got time for one more question. Chris, how did you find that writing was your thing? I have so many things I love that I never seem to find that one thing that just keeps me interested. I'm all over the place with creating. Any suggestions on how I take advantage of that? You know, I'm that person too. I like a lot of different things. How did I know? I was driving in the car one day. This was recent, actually. And I was talking to my mom on the phone. Hi, Mom. My mom is listening today. And I was explaining to her how excited I was about, I think it was an article that I had written or something that was working out. It might have been the first Huffington Post article that was published a couple of months ago. So you all know I've been doing a lot of writing before that, right? But this moment, I was describing to her the feeling. I'm getting back to the feeling, right? It was the feeling inside. And I'm telling you, I burst into tears. I had to say, I'm sorry, Mom, I'm okay. Really, I'm okay. I'm just having a moment of pure knowing what I was born to do. So lucky me, right? I get to have that. But I'll give myself the pat on the back that I've been doing the work to explore this. I don't waver from that. Every day I do a piece. Every day I'm there trying to wake up to what I'm feeling and what's happening and make the choices I want to make, protect the time I need. If you like a lot of things, do the experiment. Figure out what really turns you on, because that's the thing to follow, you guys. Do what you really love to do, and it may not be one thing. It's okay. Yes, multi-potentialites, right, Peggy? There was an awesome video about this recently, a TED Talk that talked exactly about this. It was fantastic. I'm not sure what you mean by illegal amounts of joy and happiness. Of course you don't, because we don't give ourselves permission to feel the joy, to feel that kind of joy, right? So when I say give yourself permission to feel everything, I don't just mean the tough stuff, like the sadness or the grief or the despair or the hopelessness. I actually mean the other end of the spectrum too. And so if you don't know what I mean by that, just sit with that for just a minute and understand that you have a world of opportunity open to you. to feel that much joy. Okay, you guys, so we're at the end, and I'm gonna make you guys an offer today that only my live participants are getting. So for the next couple of hours, maybe 2-3 hours, you have a chance to go on my website and sign up for the Writing for Warrior Healing class. And if you type in the word passion to the coupon box, that's all capitals, passion, you are going to receive a nice little discount on the course. And I'm offering this next course as a beta run because I added information, and I'm still making this baby the best it can be. And I really, really deeply appreciate the people who are in this course in the first runs with me to make this thing really like I want it to be. So right now that course is listed as $111, and it's going to be knocked down to $88 with that passion coupon for you guys. I really appreciate that you were here today with me, and I appreciate the time you took, the time that you protected to be here to watch this webinar live. You guys know how to get a hold of me. The course is on the website, lauraprobert.com. You can email me any questions I didn't answer today. I'd be happy to email and chat with you back and forth about some of the things that are coming up for you, some of the ideas that you're having since listening to what I had to say today. And right now, I just want to leave you with this beautiful picture of Warrior Soul, a journal to inspire your fiercely alive whole self. My daughter, Danielle, drew the eyes of this artwork, and my beautiful friend, Atusa, did the galaxy background for me. So this front cover artwork was an amazing collaboration. And I thank you so much for being here. I'll talk to you all real soon. Thanks a lot.